And the best way to do that is actually math competitions. I know some of you guys have been in my webinars before and probably heard of this, but the reason I've highlighted this over here as well is because it's the most accessible. What do I mean by that? Well, accessibility in terms of price and in terms of location. Some of you guys are not in California. Some of you guys are outside the US. With speech and debate, your limiting factor is that the infrastructure is heavily lacking in some areas, even in California, where you have most of the top 100 schools. As you saw, the representation was skewed towards the bottom for all of the schools. So that means that you're more than likely to have a weak infrastructure to develop speech and debate skills, unless you supplement using the resources we give you. Number two, for Lego, it is an expensive habit. I will tell you from personal experience, it is very expensive to get these pieces together, especially for a sustained period of time. If you can afford it, excellent. If you think it's not worth the price and you think that you're just looking at this from an angle of developing good logical skills and cognitive development, then logic-based math competitions are the best one because they're cheap. You don't need much resources. Everything is available freely online. And also they're online, right? So it's accessible. So let me get into the significance of this briefly, because some of you guys have been in my previous webinars and have known this already, is for logic-based math competitions. And I'll give you the breakdown for the best ones to go for. So this is something new. It's good to bridge the Common Core gap. Throughout the US, you have a gap in terms of the public schools where, and I'm comparing this to Asia, of course. So relative to the Indian schools and schools in China, this is the Common Core has a little bit of a problem because it's 2 years behind at the elementary stage, and it tries to catch up in the higher, like the middle school, but the upper middle school stage. And the thing is, when you jump in that stage, you're jumping really difficult topics. So because you have to rush algebra, you end up focusing less time on calculus and all these topics. So your understanding of those important topics, you don't have a lot of time dedicated in school for it. So it should be more evenly spaced out. We're not saying that it's consistently 2 years behind, but it is 2 years behind at the early stages where a little bit more knowledge should be imparted. So math competitions, logic-based one specifically, that I will give you examples of, helps you bridge the Common Core gap. It gives you a community. Students who are interested in these competitions tend to find somebody who is like-minded and thinks of problems and brainstorms in a similar way. So that's always great to have a study partner. And it instills passions through puzzles. Say if you're not interested in math, this is a great way to get your child into it, because it's not your typical learn this theory, apply this theory. It's more of a puzzle where they will get intrigued. Even if they're not excited, it will definitely keep their attention more than a typical question. And of course, is our cognitive development. No better way than through these competitions. So this is something new, even in my competition tracks. I don't think I have showed you this before. A lot of the parents were asking me through Facebook, WhatsApp that, okay, yes, it's important, but which ones do I do at which grade? So the typical competition track, and now I'm going to look at this from a higher school perspective, higher education perspective. So this is how you use these competitions to shine on applications if you want to look to the future. If you want to look towards just doing this as a fun activity, I'll be explaining it in a different way on the next slide. But purely for higher education, the way you would go about it is that in elementary school, Math Kangaroo is hands down the best one, because it is sometimes the questions won't even have numbers. It's more problem solving than anything. If you're good at Math Kangaroo, you can go on to AMC 8. AMC 8 is the American Math Contest. It is a huge competition, which can give you some sort of edge in terms of higher school success. Once you do AMC 8, you can have the AMC 10 and AMC 12. The grade level is attached over there. If you do well on AMC 10 and 12, you have the AIME. Then you go on to have these different competitions. You could take a picture if you're interested in this. If you have more questions on this, I can cover it later as well. These are the different ones. They all lead up to IMO. Point to note is that some of these competitions are invite only. So it's only if you excel in the previous ones. The IMO is the golden stage. This is the International Math Olympiad. Some parents are confused because you do have Olympiads at elementary school. That is different. That is like Olympiad light. It's just like Olympiad's way of, how do I say this in a nice way, trying to extend their products to lower grade parents, I guess, just for having the tag of Olympiad. IMO is where it matters. The early stage Olympiad papers actually are pretty easy. I have done them myself at school level. It's not that it's bad, but there's a lot of better options like Math Kangaroo, like Math Counts. These are much better options. So IMO is where you get the recognition. If you do end up making it towards IMO, then there is nothing better purely in terms of college applications. It is a huge differentiator. And it has been for a while. Let's look at it from a different perspective, right? You already know the intellect development that can happen through these logic-based competitions. It is highly correlated with career development as well, and has a lot of challenges, can develop a sense of character. But like I said, for career development, these are highly correlated with having success in higher education. And most importantly, this is the key part. Now, this is specific to Asian students, so I did look at the attendees and I made the decision to display this. I apologize if you're not in this group. I will go through this quickly, but a majority of you are, so I thought it was worth looking at. So if you look at the Asian academic talent pool, specifically American Indian and Chinese American, then you will see that the academic talent pool has significantly increased over the past decade. This is the reasons for which I won't get into now, but what's concerning is that the academic talent pool for Asian groups is significantly larger than it was. However, the admissions have stayed the same for most of the elite schools. Now, this is with the exception of Stanford and Berkeley, because they are more open and they don't practice, I would say, race-based admissions, because some of you guys probably already know Harvard is facing a lawsuit for this, and they do have all of the evidence in their place. But if you look at the bottom schools, let's look at, just ignore the top two black lines. You'll see that over the past 10 years, the admissions from this group has stayed constant, even though the academic talent pool to choose from has significantly increased. Now, the way you can differentiate yourself, at least for the time being, if nothing changes, is to differentiate yourself through ECs and even academically. Because everyone applying to these schools, everyone in the top 20 is going to be great at academia. So it needs to be with a different spin. That's where your competitions come in, because, well, admission committees know that these competitions are more than just pure math. They're about logic. So here is a display. You can take a picture if you're interested in this as an EC. These are the best competitions at each grade level that I would highly recommend doing. Even if you're not, say, interested in competing, it's good to do it as an activity, as a way to challenge yourself, put you out of your comfort zone. I would recommend for grade 1 and 2, 3, and 4, Math Kangaroo. For grade 4, besides Math Kangaroo, you also have Math League, the dates for which are given as well. Now, even though AMC 8 is meant for 8th graders, if, this is conditional, if the students are in upper echelon and acing the test, you should start preparing for AMC 8 earlier, and you can give a bunch of tests before you actually get into the 8th grade. So it's a good way to start. From 5 to 6, 6 to 8, you can concentrate on AMC 8 and math counts. Math counts is also very good. When you get to the 6 to 8 level, if you are doing well, you should look into AMC 10, where you can start giving AMC 10 papers. And finally is the AMC 12 for 8 to 10. Why? Again, not associated with any of these. AMC is just the most accredited institution in terms of just the nationwide. Internationally, it is the IMO. Nationwide, it's AMC, and it does carry a lot of weight when it comes to higher education. But as I have done at many occasions, I would highlight MK as the standout option. Math Kangaroo is fun but challenging. If you are not interested in math, this is the best way to get interested. It is the only lower elementary test focused on logic-heavy questions. It serves a great foundation for higher level testing, and by that I mean say you're good at MK, it serves as a good base to go on to other competitions, because the questions, they might not be completely similar, but they test the same areas and the same skills, I would say. Questions are often based on real life applications, and they are puzzles. You have to work your way out of different situations, which makes them very, very interesting to solve. At Think Academy, specifically, we do cover MK. So this is a breakdown. Some of you guys are already parents at the Academy in terms of the long-term courses. So you already know this. There's many ways you can go about Math Kangaroo. You don't have to go with any institution per se. There's plenty of free resources online. If you're in the Think Academy WhatsApp group, I do give out the Math Kangaroo test papers that usually retail for like $50. So there's a lot of free resources, and we are here to help. But at the Academy, we do have a good foundation for competition-related material. Common Core is where you would learn the basics. Common Core is what is taught at schools. It is a basic theory in the US. Competition level math, as you can see in the bottom left corner, usually tests some areas that have reliance on heavy logic application. But you cannot get to that part if you haven't bridged the gap. So I think we try to do that, and we've been pretty successful with a large majority of medalists and gold medalists coming from Think. So we try to bridge that as well. But if you're not with the Academy, that's completely fine, as long as you know the resources are available online if you're interested. So that concludes it for the competitions. And again, I would like to hone in on this point again. It is the most accessible. Speech and debate and Lego are brilliant. And obviously, a lot of this is subjective. It's based on what you're passionate about. So you should go for that first, and then look at what is based on statistics and what is based on higher education. First should be your passion always. But it is the most accessible by far. It is cheap. It is available online. There's plenty of free resources. So if you don't want to think too much, then this is a good way to build early stage, logical thinking and problem solving skills. And that is it for today in terms of our highlight on some of the best extracurricular activities